First of all, it's a tax-free salary. Everybody loves to have it. Whatever you're getting in India, at least 6 times of your salary is the base salary here. The right to stay in the country without even having a job. From the janitor and the driver level to the senior level, they were calling people by the first name. I got a cultural shock when they called me by my first name as Vijaya.
So how much time do you take in your mind to select or reject a candidate?
Just 10 minutes. Very two important questions I ask and then I finish.
Where do you see yourself 5 years down the line?
No.
AI can replace recruiters?
The way we look at things will be the differentiating factor. They miss out on the questions the way the interviewer is asking. So sometimes it doesn't play well with them. Yes, I want the apple, orange, but I don't want to pay them, so that's not right. The Gen Z are restless. They want to work something which is out of the box.
Should employees be best friends with their bosses?
Though you can be a friendly boss, but you cannot be a friend. I have spent 36 years building my career. I did not spend time building myself. I missed out on many important occasions where my children wanted me there. So if I maintained the work-life balance and the career, then I could not have reached to the place where I am today.
Hello friends, welcome back to Decode with Navneet and a new chapter, and we have a very special guest today, and the special in many senses because ma'am is the first lady or women guest on our show, and she's heading human resource in a healthcare hospital in Dubai. So I'm in Dubai and we are meeting with many people in Dubai. So let's talk to ma'am. We'll try to decode the human resource recruitment and human resource in healthcare in Dubai and UAE. Hello ma'am, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Navneet. Thank you.
You are Miss Vijaya Sen, currently the CHRO of Al Zahra Hospital in Dubai. And Dubai is wonderful. I mean, I'm in Dubai since last 3-4 days, and I met wonderful people, many people, the vibrant culture. What brought you to Dubai?
Opportunity.
Okay.
You know, Dubai opened the gate for opportunities, and the year I moved was 2011, 15 years back, and they were looking for people in different kind of spectrum of work. In fact, I was selected for this position, not CHRO position. That time, I took up a role as a director HR for another group of hospital. They have a group of hospital here, and they had come there to interview candidates, and there were nearly more than 30 candidates waiting to take up this role. They had a specific requirement. They wanted a female HR, somebody who comes from healthcare background. Since I had worked in healthcare in India, so I was chosen for this role, and I started. I thought that okay, I'll do one contract and go back to India. Second contract, go back to India. Third contract, go back to India. Because here contract is, you live by contracts here.
Right.
You know, it's like a 2 years contract. So, but then there was nothing like saying goodbye, you know, contract after contract, contract after contract. That's what happened with me. And just about 4 years back, I moved into a different hospital. In fact, I was headhunted for this role because when you start working in certain domain, you specialize in that area and you start understanding everything about that field. So I was headhunted for this role as a CHRO, and I was called to join them. And I said, well, if opportunity has come here, why not explore it? And
Of course.
I joined Al Zahra Hospital. That's how it happened.
So prior to this, you were a lawyer.
Yeah.
So lawyer itself is a very reputed profession.
Yeah.
So what makes you think to become an HR after being a lawyer?
Okay.
And what advantage you have for being a lawyer in HR?
That's great question. Actually, I was quite ambitious, like many. When you start doing your graduation and all, and you have so many fields to choose with. I wanted to do a professional degree, and that's why I did law. And after doing professional degree, I wanted to practice as a lawyer. I did that. But what I felt missing was that the kind of dignity and respect you get for that profession was not established that point of time. It was like, you are going through files, you're not getting that opportunity to go to the courtroom, whereas you're bubbling with that energy that, I want to appear in the court and present the case. Obviously, every profession takes your time.
Of course.
And I felt, it's much better to understand the human angle of the people rather than understanding the human documents, about human. So that was the reason I wanted to move into a different field, and I made this transition in a more gradual and conscious way. And the question which you asked, that how did I get help from being a law? Actually, law is a very interesting subject because it teaches you the detailing part.
Right.
You understand everything in depth. You have to go, number one. Number two, you look at the facts. You don't really come out with any kind of conclusion without understanding the facts. So facts, fairness, details, all this became a part of my job in the HR. And HR definitely is the main crux of the HR human resources, the employment laws, because you have to be compliant with the employment laws. If you are compliant, then your employees are also easy to handle, and you see that, okay, you're doing a fair way of handling things. That was the reason.
So how many years you have worked in India
Uh-huh.
or in Indian ecosystem in HR domain?
Nearly 15 years.
15 years
15
in
years,
India.
yeah. 15 years, 15, 16 years I spent in India. And the best part is that, I got an opportunity to work in human resource while working for a Fortune 500 company, that is GE. So I moved into a different role, in a more administrative role, and then I was selected to work in the human resource. And when I stepped into the HR, my senior told me that, Vijaya, if you want to learn this subject, first get certified. That means go for a proper education so that your fundamentals and foundations are clear about
Clear.
human resource. What many people think is that, human resource is very generic. Anybody can do HR. Anybody. It's recruitment, it's payroll, anybody. Actually, there is a science behind doing all these things. And I strongly feel that science is all about psychology. The science is all about understanding things, how you handle, the human behaviors. So people don't understand to that level, and in order to understand that, you have to study that subject to understand all areas of human resource, and then practice. Of course, the theory and practicals are equally important to each other.
So after working for 15 years in India, you come down to Dubai. What was the biggest culture shock you got?
As I mentioned to you, you come from a culture where you are called as sir, madam. The British culture, what you have. The British has left that legacy with Indians. That was quite, engraved in my way of working also. So when I came here, right from the janitor and the driver level to the senior level, they were calling people by the first name. And I got a cultural shock when they called me by my first name as Vijaya. I said, "Oh, is this the respect I get for this position?" I've joined them as a director HR, and I'm being called as Vijaya. But then gradually I sinked in that here everyone is treated equal. So when you start calling sir, madam, you're actually putting that person on a very high pedestal. There is a different theory of looking at it. When you are putting somebody higher, means you're respecting that person. So respect cannot be equated. So I was looking at the respect part, but however, the respect in UAE or Dubai as such is all about treating everyone as equal. So that was the first culture
Which one
shock.
is better, first one or second one?
I feel the second one is much better. I feel there is a personification when you call somebody by the name, and you start loving your name, And I really love my name because Vijaya stands for victory. So I feel very good when people call me by my first name, irrespective of the designation, irrespective of the age. I feel much better if somebody calls me by my first name.
Okay. So both of us from HR industry, we can say. So What do you think about HR? Is it still a support function or it's a hardcore business partner?
You know, when I started HR, definitely it was a support function. And till date, also, there are many institutions, organizations who treat HR as just a support function, who does attendance, payroll, recruitment. People can't think HR above that. HR has a human angle to it. We are there to take those ethical issues, handling those ethical issues, and helping people to understand the fairness and logic behind things. So the HR has moved beyond the transactional part, but of course the transactions has to be done. So you will always see in a human resource department there is a HR transactional part who have to be done, because without those transactional operational role you cannot really exist. And there will be a strategic HR. So the strategic HR are the ones who are actually adding value to the business. And when I moved into the strategic HR, I realized that you have to look at the business outcomes and then function. If you start looking at the business outcomes, then your performance changes. And when your performance changes, then you drive your team members also accordingly. Then you start dictating and trying to tell them, look, if you're working on this, you're trying to drive this initiative, what is a big picture? Why are we driving a e-learning platform for our hospital? Just to give you an example, the person has to be understood this e-learning is a self-paced program which you have to do it helps you to enhance your skills, your understanding about that subject. And number two is that you can do it at any time. So you have the time at your thing. You're not compressed to come to a classroom and be attentive, so you can do it at your own space and excel in it. So if you try to give this big picture, then the learning and development person understands it and can drive the e-learning in that manner. So this is how I try to drive my point. So that's the reason I try to connect you with the strategic HR with the operational part of it.
Okay. So, one very interesting question about you. You often talk about articulating complex HR issues in simple stories for senior leadership. Can you share an example where storytelling changed a decision in the boardroom?
Since the time I started working with the promoters, promoters are the owners of the hospital. In fact, in 15 years, I had the opportunity to work with two big conglomerates based in UAE, based in Dubai. One had a base even in India. They had three hospitals. They have hospital in Dubai, Sharjah, and even in India, which they have now sold it to Max. So I'm talking about Zuleika Hospitals, and the one currently where I'm working. This is one standalone hospital. Now, both the hospitals, when you're working with owners or promoters, they have very less time to hear your part of the story. Now you don't have all the time to do the storytelling, so you will have to compress your content or thought in such a manner that you grab their attention in that less period of time. So you present something in such a manner that they are able to get it. Example, I had to present a recruitment drive proposal to the owners of one of my hospital. I'll not give it which name, but I had to. Now, this is actually like a road show which was happening in UK. It's not a very easy proposition to sell, because you have to convince the owners that you have to spend this money to participate. So for participation also there is a fee, and for your traveling there is a fee, hotel, lodging, everything. So I had to convince them that our hospital has basically a majority of them are Indian doctors. You need to have a diversity because we are located in a place which embraces diversity. So you have to bring people from different countries. And the best place to get such kind of people is UK. The reason being is that I'm not targeting just the British nationality. There are different nationalities
Right.
who are working there, staying there, and looking for an opportunity which can bring them closer to the country. Example, there are people who are like from Egypt or Syria or Lebanon, but they are having a British nationality. They have a British passport. They have been living there for last 20 years. So if you give them the opportunity, why not? They will come here. So I had to convince them in such a manner that they understood there is something for us. So what I'm trying to drive the point is that if you try to convince the promoters that you will get something out of it if you spend this money, because end of the day the promoters are spending money. So what are they going to get out of that proposal is something, is what is all about storytelling. So that storytelling has to be weaved in such a manner that they understand that this is what you will get out of it, and then you can do so. So I have to place it on records. I was able to convince them and get them agreed for 4 road shows every year, year on year. So we started doing it in the year from 2016, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it was like that. 4 years we did roadshow in London under the banner of BMJ Careers, and we were able to bring some of the best talents to UAE.
Okay, so how difficult or how easy is it to find a doctor or medical staff or manpower in hospitals or healthcare in UAE?
Yeah. See, basically, UAE is very structured place, in the sense that structured in every area of work. For instance, if I say about the regulatory part, the health regulatory here, they give you a clear specification to hire doctors, nurses, technicians. So you know exactly this is what is the minimum or bare requirement for that role. Now, how do you add value to it? If you're trying to bring a doctor for, say, because I worked in 2 different hospitals, so I can make a very nice comparison. So, say for instance, the previous hospital where I worked, the insurance defines the standards of the hospital.
Right.
So the previous hospital had insurance which covered almost masses. I would say it covered masses. So it had more volume of patients and other thing. So obviously everything comes down to the business return, how much you can get out of it, the ROI part of it. Now, the present hospital where I'm working, the insurance is very different. So the insurance is a premium insurance. So you have to cater to these 2 categories of people. So when you look at them, then you will have to find the doctors which fit their budget.
Right.
Okay, so I cannot say that I want a CCT qualified, that is a UK board at this salary. I want the best, I want the apple orange, but I don't want to pay them. So that's not right. So you have to first fix on the budget as per the hospital's requirement, which definitely you work with the management closely to fix the budget, which I did this for my previous organization. We worked on the budget, and then same way when I came to a different hospital, it's a very premium hospital, and their budget was differently high, because insurance payers are very high category of people. So you will have to bring doctors of that level. So you will have to see those kind of things. Now, coming back to your question, what kind of thing we look at it. So basically, as a human resource, salary is one part which I spoke about, which we decide internally. Now, when we start looking for people, we are looking at the cultural fitment, which is very important. Caliber is there, experience is there, all this is there, which the person goes through the clinical round of interviews to assess whether this person fits for us or not. And because assuming this doctor has a license, I'm talking about that. Now, as a human resource, we look at the cultural fitment, the kind of questions we ask, or we sit for the panel interviews. We assess the doctor on those grounds that this doctor will fit into our requirement, because this particular specialty, for instance, general surgery, you have American board, you have a UK board, you have an Indian board, you have an Arab board. Different people come. When they are coming with diverse background, they have to work together. So you have to make sure that this doctor who is coming, he should be a team player. He should work as a team and take everyone into consideration, and then be very cooperative with the hospital arrangement also. So this is first thing which we look at it. Secondly, every hospital has their own terms and conditions, that is working timings and other things. So, like in my previous hospital, the OPD timings was up to 11 p.m. Okay,
Okay.
so people who are coming from UK, they are not used to working till 11 p.m. So they have to. So if they say that, okay, I'm agreeing because I need this job, but I may not agree later, that may not be fit into it. So as a human resource, we spend more time after the panel discussion to understand they agree to our terms and conditions or not. If they agree to our terms and conditions, then most of the factors have been met. Then we make an offer.
It's very difficult, I think, in my opinion, to reject a doctor. Because I mean, being a HR professional or any interviewer, a doctor is a doctor. It's a
Yeah.
respected job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's okay, but it's our job.
Yes.
What is the demography of doctors in your hospital or any healthcare industry in Dubai? I mean, what percentage of people are from India or Pakistan or any other countries?
Depends on the hospital. Basically, the previous hospital where I worked, the majority of them were Indians, and then they had Arabic also. Because see, we have to have Arabic-speaking doctors.
Right.
They can be from any of the Arab countries like Syria, Lebanon, or Egypt. Any place they can be, but they have to be speaking Arabic because that's a kind of patient base you have.
Right.
So the patient base demands the kind of demographic we want to have. It's not our choice. So we look at the statistics that what kind of patient demographic we have in the vicinity,
Right.
and then we bring people. For instance, the current organization where I'm working, they are based in a very high-end, posh area where
Locality.
you have people from the Western countries, UK, USA, even the Russians. There are a lot many Russians who are moved in. So you have to have those kind of doctors on board, so that because what happens is that a patient comes to the doctor when they are in pain. They are more comfortable if they are able to speak their own language.
Right.
So it's their preference. It's not our preference.
So, what is the earning capacity of doctors in UAE as compared to India?
Earning capacity, I would say that, first of all, it's a tax-free salary. Everybody loves to have it.
Right.
And whatever you're getting in India, I would say at least 6 times of your salary is the base salary here. It is like that.
Okay.
So 6 to 7 times you can expect. And these days, Chat GPT and Google is there to find out what's the minimum salary. Because see, salary also depends on different kind of specialty you're working for. For instance, if you are a OPD practitioner, that is, you'll only hold OPD. Internal medicine, family medicine,
Right.
rheumatology, gastroenterology, these are all OPD based. So obviously the salary will be different. And salary for the surgical department will be different, like orthopedic or general surgery. So the salary will be different. Same way, there are differentiation between the specialist and super specialist. So when I say super specialist, they are like gastroenterologists, endocrinologists, rheumatologists. They are all super specialists. So they have specialized in their area. So the kind of salary they will demand is very different, and the salary we make also is different from the medicinal part.
So, is it very easy to recruit doctors here?
It's a highly competitive market because you see a lot many people coming from different kind of countries. Dubai being a very strategically located
Right,
place,
right.
people prefer it's a tax-free salary, very comfort life. Because why people call this as a comfort life is that there is a work-life balance. If you have this timing as your routine, this week your duty rota is like this, then you stick by it. You don't work extra, So your time is quite bound. Yes, we work here 48 hours per week, but then it is governed as per the law, and every hospital respects that timing. So that gives you more time for yourself.
So, in hospitals or in healthcare industry, so many people think that HR is like police, which has to see that doctors are coming on time, they are leaving on time, how much time they are going for break. Is it true, or they are the partner for their business?
So we don't do that. We don't
Right.
do the policing activity. It is very wrong notion that HR does the policing. But let me tell you, any organization, if they have to function in a more legal, ethical, and in a more compliance-driven environment, you have to put certain discipline into place. So leave apart the doctors. For everyone, there has to be some discipline. So you have to have a start time, end time, and when you're saying that I respect your timing, then I have to monitor your timing as well. So there are hospitals who are doing this attendance part for the doctors, but there are many hospitals who don't do the attendance for the doctors. So I left this open kind of thing. There are, because I have worked in both environments, and both environments are good enough, because end of the day, it's the trust which works, and you know that this is my ethics, work ethics, and I need to respect my timing. Then you will be there on time.
Okay. So being female in HR is a biggest advantage or disadvantage?
Is a biggest advantage, because many of the human resource heads in the nearby hospitals are dominated by male. Very few are really leading on the top as a women. But the plus factor about is that the women have the emotional and empathy part, which is very strong and which is really required in a healthcare sector. So these two factors help us to connect with the people more strongly.
So for while hiring for healthcare sector, do we look for empathy in employees?
We don't look at the empathy part, because you really cannot judge through that interview that how empathetic is this person. But of course, when I'm talking about the doctor, we ask different kind of situational questions. That is actually the clinical panel. They ask, this case has happened. How did you handle this and all? So while describing about that particular situation, they look at what level of empathy the person has.
Okay, after interviewing thousands of professionals, what patterns do you see repeatedly in a high performer, and what trait is consistently underestimated during hiring?
The high performers, they feel they have everything with them, and when they come for the interview, they are super confident. So they miss out on the questions the way the interviewer is asking. So sometimes it doesn't play well with them.
Okay, how much time you took or you take normally to select or reject a candidate? Now, do you take interviews?
Yeah, I do too.
Okay,
I do.
so how much time do
Especially
you take to, in your mind,
in your
obviously
mind.
not on the table,
Yeah.
in your mind to select or reject a candidate?
Just 10 minutes, maybe less than that also. And in that 10 minutes, I have only very two important questions I ask, and then I finish. I don't ask anything more than that. So first of all, the way the candidate appears in front of me, right from the way the person comes inside the room and
Right.
greets and all, of course, those are very important things which many people miss out. And then I ask a very relevant question which no one has asked. So first, I sit for the panel to understand what kind of questions they have asked. So I don't ask those questions. So I ask them from the cultural fit point of view. And I always look at, if I lost, say for instance, one critical leadership role for some X reason. So I try to put up that question in front of this person to find out how is the response like. And through that I decide whether this person we should take it or not. Because I don't want to repeat the mistake of having another replacement for that position.
So do you ask those questions? Where do you see yourself 5 years down the line? Questions like this?
No, no. They are very outdated, and now ChatGPT gives you very good answers for that. So people come very much prepared on it. So that should not be.
How do you manage international recruitments? This will help me in my setting up my consulting firm. So you have led many such campaigns like UK, Philippines. The one you were saying
UK and
about
Philippines,
roads also. So how do you manage that? How do you lead that?
See, basically, first of all, you have to identify where you want your people from. Say for instance, my current hospital, they need nurses from Philippines.
Right.
Okay, now there are two way of going through this whole process. Philippines is a place, it's not so easy to bring talents from there because their country doesn't allow people to go out. So they have so much of stringent rules and regulations. You have to comply with them, otherwise you cannot bring people, or else you have a different approach of bringing them on a visit visa, which is not right.
Which is not right.
So we don't do that. So what we do is that we tie up with agencies over there based in Philippines, and then after having the terms and conditions clear and all, then they, because they know the country origin,
Right.
what is the requirement, so they make sure all the compliances are in place, and then we move across on the recruitment. Then we do the video conferencing part and get the candidates interviewed through video conference, and then do the selection. That's how we bring candidates.
We get lot many candidates from India, especially in nursing staff and all. So, what do you think about those candidates? They are well qualified. We are doing good in nursing education system, or how is it?
See, our qualification is very good. I mean, our education system in India is good, especially with the clinical part,
Right.
whether it is doctors or nurses. No doubt, our Indian nurses are all across the world now.
Right.
They are, you name it, they are there. You see them in Ireland, UK,
Everywhere they are.
everywhere. They have a huge presence, and the way they treat patients is also very good, because I have seen this in my current hospital where I was hospitalized. I see a huge difference. The empathy part which you asked me, so they are very empathetic. So they have a very good bedside manners. They make sure that whatever a patient requires is given, and plus they make sure that they connect with the patient more empathetically, because they understand the pain, because they have seen several patients in the past with that kind of procedure undergone. So like I went through a procedure, so they knew exactly what kind of pain I'm facing. So this nurse told me that, I can understand you're facing this, but don't worry, this will get away with this kind of thing. You need to rest, this thing. So that's what I'm trying to say, that Indian nurses are really good, and they are most required in many of the countries. But we also have a constant demand back home in India to have these people. So the best of best have to be there, best of best have to be outside also. But
Right.
it's all upon you, which one you want to take and where do you want to work.
So there is a very famous saying or very famous mentality in India that academics or education system in India doesn't give real time exposure or real time knowledge or whatever skills are required in industry in schools or colleges. So is it same in hospitals also or healthcare also, or they are somehow fully prepared?
I beg to differ from this point, especially for the clinical side. Our education system and the exposure which you get in India is incomparable. In fact, I would rate very high India as well as Egypt. Even Egypt has very good clinical background of people. So you have the exposure and you have the education, right education. So they are highly in demand in other countries. No wonder our Indian doctors or Egyptian doctors are the one who are easily getting the UK board certification or US board certification. If they are not competent enough, they will not qualify for that. So our system is very strong, and with respect to even the nursing, our nursing school and nursing colleges are extremely good, and they get the practical exposure. What they lack in the nursing side is that they are not exposed to the latest advanced medical technology. The bedside manners will change with the place. So in order to I would encourage people to come out of the country and have an exposure, because that will help you not only to go for global opportunities, but also you as a person will get groomed well. Rather than being in one place, especially on the nursing front, I will say. But for the physicians or the doctors, one doesn't have to really worry, because our hospitals give the best of exposure, and we have the best medical technology back home in India.
So I have been told that you are handling a team where people from 15 nationalities or 15 countries are there, and with various age distribution also. So how do you manage to manage them?
Actually, this is something I would call it as a unique when I compare my India and UAE experience. UAE gave me a diverse nationality of people to work with. It starts from my own department. So I have Filipinos, I have Emiratis, I have Arab, that is Egyptians, Indians. All these people are working with us. So each one of them have a different pace of doing things, because since being in India, I know we are very fast in executing things, and the way we think is also very different, so our response will be very faster, and we would expect others to respond to us faster. However, if you see, these people who come from different countries, even the Emirati nationals, I'm saying UAE nationals, they are extremely good and knowledgeable. It's that the way they communicate, it's not faster like us. They will think, they will understand, and they will articulate their communication before they put it across. So that's why I find them extremely good in doing certain kind of work. Same way, if I have to say about Filipinos, many of the nationalities working in different healthcare and other sectors are Filipinos, whether it is retail or hospitality, like hotels and all, or even healthcare. Uh, One, they are very structured in their thinking, and their execution is very fast. See, they first plan their things, so their structured way of thinking, and they execute. So but they will not go beyond that borderline. This is how they will work. So if you give them the task, they will give you the result, but you will have to define the borderline clearly. So every nationality has a different kind of thing. It's there's how you place those people in that role is important. So I think I've been instrumental in placing my right resources at the right places.
AI will eat recruiters' job.
I have a talent acquisition team, and healthcare particularly. I'm saying to you that they always prefer grooming and preparing the talent acquisition team within the hospital rather than outsourcing it, because the people who are within the hospital, they know exactly what to be offered. So my team is already been ready for these kind of opportunities, so we don't really engage with the recruiting consultants to give this, but there are hospitals here who would like to give this kind of assignments to outsource agencies who could give opportunities to many in India and other places.
So screening the profile
Yeah.
is one of the biggest task or biggest job of a recruiter. So artificial intelligence or AI will can replace recruiters.
See, the human judgment, the way we look at things, will be the differentiating factor. Okay, the AI will definitely take up many of the roles of the talent acquisition person. However, the human angle to it, when you look at the profile, okay, AI has helped you through the application tracking system to get you the right profile fit. But then, as a human, you look at that profile, read each and every thing of that doctor's profile to understand whether this is what we are looking for. And then having a conversation with this candidate, that helps us to understand whether we should shortlist this candidate for our hospital or not. So the human judgment is the differentiating factor.
I'll tell you one story. Being a HR consulting firm, we opted for some AI tool to screen a profile, a set of profiles. So we use some AI tools to judge whether the profile is relevant to or not. So all the profiles or all the candidates also have made their CVs on the basis of their job description with the help of AI. So how AI can shortlist or screen the profile?
Yeah. AI cannot, but AI helps people to give certain keywords so
Right.
that it helps the candidate to prepare the CV like that. It may prima facie look very same, or it may not look same. But end of the day, people will definitely use the AI tool to churn out the CV. And I feel that in a way, AI helps to screen, say, 10,000 application for a dozen of jobs you have. It helps you.
Right, right. It
It
will
helps you.
definitely.
But then that's why I said the human angle plays a very important role, going through the CVs, understanding them, having a conversation with the shortlisted candidate, and making a final decision on that.
So, what is this golden visa buzz? We are sitting in India, golden visa, invest 5 CR, invest 1 million dirham, get the something. Figures are just to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
But what is this golden visa? What difference will I be feeling if I have a golden visa or I am on a normal visa in Dubai?
See, Golden Visa gives you the right to stay in the country without even having a job.
Okay.
Simple as it is, okay? Without having any kind of business or job, you can still have a golden visa. For that reason, the upper mark they have kept currently, I think it is 2 million dirham.
Okay.
So if you invest in a property worth of 2 million dirham, even if you pay a 20% as an advance, a token, because as you pay the first initial amount itself, you will get a title deed in your name. That gives a surety and assurance to the government that you're going to stay here. Now what you do here, they will not interfere into it. Okay, this is one way. The second way is that for the professionals, if you have 30,000 dirhams as your salary, base salary, basic salary I'm talking about, then you are eligible to get a golden visa. So the most important factor is that if you're an employee and if you have a golden visa, that means you don't need a employer sponsor. Nobody is sponsoring you. You
Okay.
yourself is sponsoring. You yourself is taking care of your medical insurance. It's a different thing. Organizations are offering the medical insurance even for the golden visa, but it makes you you feel liberated. You are
Right.
not under somebody. You can come and go anytime. You don't, even if you stay outside the country more than 6 months, like earlier the rule was that if in fact the rule is still there. If you have a employment visa here in UAE and you stay outside the country more than 6 months, I'm talking about India, then this employment visa will cease to exist. So you have to make a visit in between that. So that's a reason the golden visa makes a difference.
What is work-life balance for you?
Work life balance is for me that if I find time to do my own work, personal work, and when I say personal work, it doesn't mean just the household work. I want to pursue my personal interest, my ambitions or hobbies, whatever I want to do. If I find that time to do it, and I'm able to meet my friends, relatives, all that gives you a work life balance.
So, how did you manage your journey till here? Because being a woman, you said you have two lovely children, kids. So, how did you manage all those things? Still, you are at this level.
Yeah. See, my work-life balance started with my husband. He gave me that kind of comfort and moral support that I am there with you. We can run this household like that. So when I moved to UAE, I moved alone. My husband did not come along with me because he had a established business over there. So I came here to explore the career opportunity here. In fact, I got this opportunity being in India, and I wanted to have a global exposure. That was the reason of coming here. So obviously my children were quite adult enough at that point of time. They were already studying in a senior secondary school and they could take care of themselves. So they were not too small to be handled. However, I made sure that I make regular visits to India to make sure that I have that kind of balance between my personal life and professional life. So and then the history is there. Whatever I have done today, I'm glad that people children have settled.
I was watching a podcast of Miss Indra Nui,
Uh-huh.
and she was saying that the biological clock and professional clock are inversely proportional to each other. In your career, when you are at the peak,
Mm.
the biological clock says you need to get married, you need to conceive a baby. So, how do you see this? I mean, how can we cope up with that? How women should cope up with that?
See, many people get mistaken that, okay, I've taken a job, now this is all I want to do in my life. They make career as their passion. Career cannot be your passion. Career can be just your job, your growth, your personal identity. Your passion, you should have it other things, which you want to do otherwise. When it comes to your personal life, you have to do certain things, and every organization, every country has those kind of laws which supports a childbirth, which supports parenting. So when the law supports you, the employment law support you, then why not look at that ways? So you can plan your career, plan your personal life along with both the things, and balance it both. You can do both of them.
Yeah, you are a classic example of the same. So, what's your future plan?
Well, I am at a stage where I've spent 36 years building my career. I just spoke
36
about
years,
36
yes.
building your career. I did not spend time building myself.
Okay.
So I felt this is the time when I should spend time building myself. And when I say myself, this is definitely, I would like to share it with the listeners and the people who are watching me. You miss out on many important things when you're building your career. You really don't see that you have your personal interest, you have passion to follow, you have certain hobbies to see. You don't really look at it because you're giving the best to it. Because if you give your best, that 48 hours in a week, you get the best, for your family, for yourself.
Right.
So done, you do that. But along with that, definitely try investing in learning something new. Try investing in relationship, that is building your relationship with your family, with your relatives, because many people, they miss out when they come to UAE or any other country. They fly abroad, outside their home country. They miss out on building the relationship. I do missed out. So that's the reason I felt after 15 years in UAE, now it's time for me to build myself. And this is my very bold decision in life. When you're at the top of your career, you're doing so well, you're at a level where you get the kind of respect and dignity, and you chose a different path of transition, that is moving out from this role. So I'll be soon moving out from this role and transitioning to a different path of life, which I really don't know what I'm going to see, what I'm going to explore in life. But I think when you don't know what you have to do, then it is more exciting, I feel so. And that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Wow. Lot of courage required to do this.
Yes, lot of courage. People are not able to understand, and they keep questioning, are you want to reverse your decision or not? I said, no, this was a decision taken with a full thought out. And I would like to say that why I took this decision is primarily because I did not do what I'm trying to preach you now. I did not really give time for my personal interest. I did not give time to my relationship, building my relationship with my family members. I did not give time to learn something new. So there are so many things, and I feel that I've really reached a stage. I think audience will be surprised to know I've just attained the age of 60. I'm 60 years old, and I feel that I've reached an age. From now on, my countdown starts. So I need to really use my next years learning and doing things which I've not done.
I can see your emotions.
Thank you.
Okay, one last question. After that, we will do rapid fire. I have read somewhere that someone has quoted that if you want to buy things without checking the price tag, you have to work without checking the clock. What's your take on this, being a HR professional?
You have to see the value of the person, value of the position, and then you don't have to see, what is the price tag or how much time you're going to spend. This is exactly the same, if you're giving your best to the organization, you should not look at the clock, that how much time I'm spending, and you should look at yourself, what kind of value addition you will give. Because if you give that value addition to the organization will give back to you. you, because people have this misconception that I worked hard but I don't deserve to get this kind of increment. I should have got much more than that. But people fail to understand that your contribution has to be matching to the expectation of the business outcomes. In what ways you're reflecting your performance in that. So that's very important for us to know.
So we'll have a rapid fire round now. First question: what is one thing AI will never replace?
The human aspect, human judgment,
What is the first thing you notice in a candidate within 30 seconds of meeting them?
the curiosity. I ask question in such a manner to understand whether this person is curious enough to more about this role and how he's coming out. So that 30 seconds helps me because, for instance, I'll elaborate this point. When you, as a candidate, you appear in your best of suit and you're presentable, but the curiosity part is like you're shaking hand and you're saying and you're trying to greet and say that I heard about you, I know, because the person has been known that he or she is going to approach so and so person.
Right.
So how much he has learned about that person, how much he has learned about the organization before approaching. So that curiosity factor, I look at it, irrespective of whatever the person brings on board.
Sure. Name one quality that absolutely love in Gen Z talent and one that worries you.
Again, the Gen Z, I find it very different from the millennial, because my department has both millennial and Gen Z. The Gen Z are restless. They want to work something which is out of the box. So they always bring questions and process improvement or anything. They will say, why are we not doing something like this? Why we are following a path? Whereas the millennial is the one who is following the path, because they don't want, they see that this is a tried and tested pathway.
Right.
We should work. So I really like the way the Gen Z is capitalizing on their energy of understanding things and executing things.
What is your 3-word definition of a good boss?
Courage, conviction, and clarity.
Wow.
It just came because this is how I apply in my day-to-day life.
Do leaders create culture or does culture create leaders?
Leaders create culture. I've seen this several times in my own organization, in my previous organization also. It's very important factor that the leader who's coming on board, he is the one who's actually setting up the culture. It's not the people. So if he says that this is the kind of discipline I want, or this is the way I am going to conduct my meeting, and this is the way we will have to conduct our business, the whole thing defines that he is actually defining the culture.
Is loyalty still rewarded in the modern workplace?
Yes, it is. I've seen it in UAE. They always reward the loyalty. In both my organization, they were rewarded for their loyalty, for their commitment, for their dedication. And we always offer the long service awards and many other perks for the people who have stayed with the organization for long.
What is one question every candidate should ask in an interview?
How is this job scalable? I mean to say, how this job, what will be my role, or how this role
Put
can
me
be
in the next level.
In the next level, or it can be expanded in the next 1 year or 2
Right.
years time frame.
Should employees be best friends with their bosses?
Employees can be a friends, but I feel there is a certain kind of boundaries a boss or a leader should create, so that the employee doesn't get too closer to the people, because that will affect the working relationship. So while out of the work you can be friends, in fact I would not really recommend that, because I personally don't practice that. Although you can be a friendly boss, but you cannot be a friend with that subordinate. That's a difference. Friendly and friend.
What is one HR myth you want to eliminate forever?
people keep saying the HR is an administrative function. I feel that that is absolutely not correct, because HR works as a business partners. If you understand HR well, you will assign the kind of responsibilities to HR and give the importance to the HR, so that they give you the best.
Work-life balance or career growth?
Both of them are important, and you have to balance it out. So you cannot choose one of them, because if you say that I want work life balance, but I'm not going to stretch my work today or for this entire week, this project I cannot do it because I have to maintain a work life balance, that means you're losing out on the opportunity. For instance, I have seen people getting an opportunity to go abroad on an assignment, but they did not go because their family did not allow, or they had family commitments and all those things. So if you give those kind of things, because see, today wherever I am today, it was not an easy path to reach, because
course.
I left behind so many important events and functions which happened in my family. That's why I spoke about the relationship. I missed out on many important occasions where my children wanted me there. I could not attend because I had to give the priority. So if I maintained the work-life balance and the career, then I could not have reached to the place where I am today. So it's very important that you balance it out and you see what is important for you at that point of time.
So thank you very much for
Okay.
coming on the show and decoding the recruitment HR in healthcare and in UAE and India.
Thank you so much, Mr. Navneet. It's been really pleasure talking to you. You made this whole conversation so interesting and engaging. I hope the listeners to this podcast, they get benefited.
Definitely
And
there will be.
of course, my next phase of life, I'm going to see you back home in India. And maybe I'll be there as a mentor or advisor.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching this episode. Stay tuned for more. Thank you.